I was excited when I started this episode because, like Space Dandy, I'm like, oh, a space race is a race in space. 1% of the episode is about the fucking race. Nothing even cool even happens in it. I mean, or am I talking about the whole episode? Welcome back, listeners, to episode 72 of the Laser Comb Podcast, your favorite show with two 80s kids who comb through classic or terrible television with a fine-tooth laser. I am one of your hosts, NeoCal, and I am joined by the prestigious Christopher Siege.
Prestigious is a perhaps maybe a bit of a misnomer of a salutation to refer to me as, good sir.
You think so?
Because I'm not sure if I felt more or less prestigious watching this show. And I was talking to my girlfriend earlier. I'm like, I was telling her about the show, and I'm like, I felt dumber after watching this. Or did I feel smarter? I'm not really sure which, to be honest.
You know, sometimes we really revel in the shows we're watching in and them being of their time.
Right.
This is really of its time.
And this is not
Tripping the Rift, folks.
Is outer space still called outer space if you're in it?
And this is not of its time in a fun way, like the movie Jet Li, or the movie The One starring Jet Li. Like, that is of its time in a, like, haha, this takes me back to 2001. We're listening to, like, Papa Roach as, like, Jet Li is, like, picking up, like, motorcycles and smashing dudes over the head with them. No, this is, of its time. This is the bad. The bad part of the 2000s.
If you went to high school in the 2000s and you remember being called slurs,
right?
This is what you were watching on late night Teletoon.
Or if you went to high school and you were calling other people slurs,
this was probably your favorite show. Not that there are slurs, that there probably are, just not in the episode we watched. But man,
I'm positive that,
and I was excited to watch this.
That the not fun way, that the not fun word for rotundo is probably said ad nauseum in this show. I can't confirm that because I haven't watched any other episode of this show, and I'm never going to. Spoilers for my rating at the end of the episode,
and you know what, like. Audio listeners, Google image search Tripping the Rift. It was a 3D, I'm not going to bring up the wiki and cite who the voice actors were and the blah, 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 because, like, man, it hasn't aged gracefully, folks. But Tripping the Rift is a 3D not. Animated, and I mean, it looks fine. It's just a shame they don't fucking do anything with it.
I was going to say, it's a show that aired on television a decade after Reboot and Beast Wars and somehow looks worse.
Okay, that's fair. Well, here's the thing. All of their budget is in the some of the physics, the jiggle physics of certain things on the show.
Yes.
So... maybe I missed the memo, maybe I was too young, but every the show really wants to depict that attractive women on the show are all have gigantic fake boobs.
Yeah.
The bigger, the rounder, the faker, the better. To the point where one of the main characters is just a sex bot. Like
It's to the point where like the makers of Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball are like, settle down there, buds.
Because at least there's something going on behind the scenes. As somebody who's played that game, I was like, the casino games are pretty fucking fun. And there's a volleyball
beyond
game
the whole
there.
like bikinis and jiggle tits. I actually like the Dead or Alive Extreme games. There's like lots
Yeah.
of fun mini games.
Yeah. I didn't mind it. And there's not lots of fun to be had here, though.
No.
No.
So this is a Patreon pick because that's what we're doing right now. We're doing Patreon picks, baby. And this is a pick by one of our new patrons, Samuel. So shout out to him. Thank you. Thank you for joining up. I'm sorry that I didn't like the show that you pitched us.
Well, here's the thing.
We're gonna go
I
into
remember
it,
liking this. Oh yeah, we're going to go into it. I remember liking this, and I was excited for it. I was like, oh fuck yeah, like tripping the rift. Sometimes it's humbling to visit something you have nostalgia for, and having that just absolutely fucking wiped clean.
Right. I remember this era.
I challenge Samuel to go back, like at right now, like in 2023.
Watch this exact episode too.
Watch this exact episode, or if you say that you can watch multiple episodes of this in a row and have a good time, I'm envious of you being able to hold on to your youth, my friend. Because I actually don't think there is a monetary amount that I could be paid to like do like a series review on this.
Oh fuck no. So what we're
If
saying
this is an exciting episode, I can't imagine what the boring ones are like.
You're not going to see Tits McGee, a Tripping the Rift podcast from Lasercomb Productions at any point in the future.
The thing is, if it was like sexy and there was like, ooh, there's some like stuff going on, it's not. It's just like there's implied and it's like gratuitous rather than sexy. Right? Like the stupid like fat Captain Chode dude, his like sex bot is supposed to be the voice of reason, but she's never taken seriously because she's a sex object, like literally. So the show tries to hide. I'm going to talk about the show in more broad strokes because the actual episode is fucking shit. The show tries to.
There's literally a anthropomorphized piece of shit in the episode.
Okay, I had so many problems with even the first 60 seconds of it. Space Jeff Foxworthy.
Why?
Literal piece.
Yes, it's a space Jeff Foxworthy with two like outrageously
giant
with, like,
fake tittied alien bitches on his shoulder.
And I'm just like, why?
On his both arms.
Like, what is the joke here? Why Jeff Foxworthy? What does Jeff Foxworthy? This show is like kind of a riff on like Star Trek, but like, what does that have to do? What does Jeff Foxworthy have to do with that?
One of his arms is robotic. I don't. It's of its time. That's what I mean.
This is just like
space Jeff Foxworthy.
Yeah, this is just like it's kitchen sink humor. Like and this is a problem that I had. This is you remember the movie Sausage
Party? There's like an
Party?
Oprah Book Club joke in here, and I'm like,
yeah, yeah. You remember the movie Sausage Party?
Yes,
CGI animated movie. Seth Rogen produced. I think he wrote it too. And a problem that I had with that film is it featured what I like to call kitchen sink humor, which is where you just throw. There's no theme to the jokes that you do at all. Like you just throw like random, like everything in there. Like if you're
I
for
see
this
what
show,
you're saying.
if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
for like this show in particular, like if you're going to do a comedic riff on like Star Trek and like Battlestar
Star Trek,
Galactica,
Battlestar Galactica,
popular
Star
science
Wars.
fiction
It,
of the
it
time.
pokes fun at
The
it
humor,
tries to.
the
Sorry, it
humor,
tries to poke fun.
it tries. Does it try though?
It's I don't know if it's not trying at all or it's trying too hard. Both are bad. Are bad.
So where I was going with that is like the humor should be related to the things that you're trying to parody. Like if you just start like throwing in like other like random elements for just for the sake of like making some kind of joke that doesn't relate to anything that's going on, it doesn't connect with your theme. It's like, what's the point? Like, what the fuck does Jeff Foxworthy have to do with like a sci-fi adventure?
Now, if
Nothing.
Jeff Foxworthy like hosted like a Wacky Races kind of thing, or he was the host of like
Maybe he
some sort of
was.
race,
Who knows?
and maybe he was, and we didn't know because we weren't
Yeah.
Jeff Foxworthy fans.
Right.
Because we I guess we weren't a redneck. You might be a redneck if you understand Jeff Foxworthy's references and tripping the rift.
If you see a sign that says "Say no to crack" and it reminds you to pull your jeans up,
But the thing is, the jokes that is a funnier joke
see that is
than
actually kind of funny.
than anything in this episode. But
Yes.
man, it tries. And then I was like, man, I bet 14-year-old me just thought everything was funny and it's for like adults. Oh, giant titties, nice. And it's like, I don't know if this would even like sway 14-year-olds now because they have the internet.
Now, this show ran from 2004 to 2007. So I
graduated in 05.
So
I caught it for a couple of years.
I was 19, between the ages of 19 and 22 when this aired.
No wonder
And
you never watched it.
I remember like catching like glimpses of random episodes here and there and being like, this is fucking stupid, and changing the channel. Now, if I had, say, been like 13 or 14 or even 15,
yeah,
when this show was on, I probably would have thought it was hysterical. Even in my early 20s, I was like, this is fucking stupid. And in my late 30s now, I'm like, this is really fucking stupid and like
dated. It's antiquated and stupid.
I'm really sorry, Samuel. Like we really support or really appreciate your patronage, but I gotta say, and also no offense to Bemused Horseman either, because we also support you, or we also appreciate your support. But this is kind of like neck and neck with 3-2-1 Penguins as being like the worst thing we've watched for this podcast, at least for me.
And that's accurate. And at least here's an interesting tidbit. They're so different. Like one is a wholesome, or it tries to be a wholesome like kids show to teach them like life lessons, and the other is fucking this. But for them to be equally so bad is that's something. There you go. Now we found something in common with 3-2-1 Penguins and Tripping the Rift.
So this is Tripping the Rift, episode 37 in a row. See, now that reference that I just made to the 1994 Kevin Smith film Clerks is leaps and bounds funnier than anything that is in this episode of Tripping the Rift.
How dare you?
It is episode 37 out of 39 in total, Extreme Takeover, which originally aired on November 29th of 2007. Now, to very quickly go over what happens in the episode is fat lizard captain man who kind of reminded me of Femur from Shadow Raiders,
but not Femur's such a better character. Think about that thing. Well, I mean, think about that statement for a second. Femur, designed to be
He reminded me of him visually, is what I was getting at.
Oh yeah, definitely. But even in the extent
Femur was
that
way more likable, even with him being basically like kind
here's
of
a
your
good
like
example.
grossly like kind of like semi inappropriate like
Femur,
alcoholic uncle.
chode, alcoholic uncle, check, check. Greedy, selfish, like despicable, check, check, right? Like they mark off some of the same traits. There's one way to do it well, and there's one way to do it like terribly. I've never cheered for this guy. And the ongoing theme of every episode, I assume, is that he's a big fucking loser.
Yeah.
But things end up coming out okay for him in the end. I, I no, like this guy. Somebody needs to stop this guy. And no matter how much he fails, he somehow still has a show.
So there's some kind of
the
race.
show breaks the fourth wall pretty early on in a not funny way too. Did you recall that?
No.
When it was like he was at the awards for the cringiest like character, and he was going against a literal piece of shit.
Right.
That was fourth wall breaking, and it was like or chode from like tripping the rift, and the award goes to this actual piece of shit. That's the writers telling me that they know that their show is fucking bad, and not in like our show's bad, like a not to throw shade like at anything. I love the the hosts of the Sick and Wrong podcast, but like they have a theme and they like stick to it, and they're like funny. In this, the fun they poke at their own show is kind of like, yeah, thanks for reminding me. Yes, it would actually be more entertaining to watch this animated like pile of like fucking human feces with chunks of corn in it than it would be to watch Chode go on his misadventures.
Right.
And that's in the first like minute or two.
We've talked about this many times in the past on various shows, but there's a term in script writing called it's called hanging a lantern on something. It's also called lampshading, which is where like the writers will acknowledge something that the audience is probably thinking. Like if it's something that's like a big coincidence, or like it happens with like fourth wall breaking things where it's like, oh, this literal piece of shit is way more interesting than our hero on this show. But it's like, you don't get to get away with having an unlikable protagonist just because you're lampshading that.
Yeah. That even fucking happened in our other...
Especially in this show that has, like, literally no redeeming qualities, from what I could tell. I did not laugh once at any point during this episode. Most of the time I was rolling my eyes, and I was just waiting for this shit to end when I was watching it.
Yeah, so we got Captain, whose name is literally Chode. He's a purple alien with 4 dick tentacles on his head. Ha ha ha. He's got 3 eyes. He's fat. He's lazy. He's obnoxious. He's the captain somehow. We have his like sex bot, Tits McGee. She has logical things to say, but nobody listens to her because she's like an attractive woman. Haha, get it?
Right.
We got a gay robot who he's the sassy gay. That's it.
He's the sassy gay, and there are like anal sex jokes.
There's repeated anal sex jokes, like, and he usually chimes in because the gays, haha, anal sex. The gays, you know how like the gays, like they engage in the anal sex.
Right.
There's unfortunate underage lizard nephew who, as far as I can tell, his thing is just being a dumb teenager, and there's nothing despicable or like wrong with him. He's just unfortunately like somehow got like his uncle to be his legal guardian. I guess, and he's the only one that's tech savvy, so he's like their IT guy, I guess.
There's the fat, gross, like,
and then there's giant 3-titted where being gross, body odor. Oh yeah, there's body odor like jokes about her. So fat jokes, giant cow alien, ugly giant cow alien, right? and like she's one of like and nobody takes her seriously because she's like an ugly woman and she's fat. Haha, get it? Like it goes like attractive privilege like has backlash on both sides and political social commentary, folks. And
I think you're giving the show way too much
yeah,
credit.
I was just going to say I'm actually giving the show way too much credit. Fat ugly lady, haha, fat cow. She cow centaur. Cow, and she has 3 booby cow.
Yeah. Fat, ugly lady. Haha. Isn't that funny? Hot, attractive lady who thinks she's smart. Haha. Isn't that funny?
Isn't that fun? Gay robot. Get sassy. Haha. Gay robot funny because he's a robot. Like, how can a robot be gay? Huh? And then I don't know, like traumatized, like underage, like punk lizard boy.
Nervous, socially awkward teenager.
There we
Isn't
go.
that funny?
Isn't that right? Not like you teenagers watching this. He's a fucking nerd. And yeah, it pokes.
He
fun
understands
at all
how
of
the ship
characters.
works. What a fucking
loser. And indeed, I'm guessing the theme of the show is all of the haha, look at all these stupid like side characters save the day repeatedly as Chode tries to fuck everything up. Is that the theme of every episode? Well, anyways, you're in for a treat because this one's about a space race. Except,
it's a race in space, baby. Fuck, I wish we were watching Space Dandy.
Space Dandy was like transcendent.
I didn't even like it nearly as much as you did, but like it still stuck with me. Like
all of like the space hitting each other and then like them speeding up and like penetrating each other and like ascending the mortal plane of existence at the end. At least that had something to say. We didn't need to know what it was, but at least it was entertaining. And that's what I mean here. Despite this being a space race, give me some Star Fox shit. Like, show me some space race stuff. And they don't.
Real quick to summarize, Space Race. It's televised. It's hosted by Space Jeff Foxworthy for some reason, and his 2 big titty
Space Race
alien
televised.
Ladies.
Big fake titty aliens. Got it.
Captain Chode really wants to win this race because he's
not because of the money, because he's always been a loser.
He's always been a loser, and he wants this to be his meal ticket. He tries to go and buy a new ship.
He goes to a used space, not even a used spaceship salesman.
Yeah, to get a new ship, a new used ship, new to him ship.
Yeah.
He gets denied because he has bankruptcy on his credit report. Haha, isn't that funny? Uh-huh. He has bad credit. So do I, folks.
And that's why Christopher Siege will never get a car to race in space.
Yeah. Awkward teenage lizard boy is like, I have a cousin who has a chop shop over in blah blah. And they're like, that sounds illegal. And he's like, of course it is. So they go there. And
I completely forgot about so all the lizards are racist representations of
Latino.
Like literally, like, like the bandana across the head, white, like baggy, like t-shirt. They're chop shop.
Yeah.
With the accent and everything.
Yeah.
Hey, SA, like, we're going to pimp out. And then it's like pimp your ride.
It's reference. Like The Shield, but in space.
It's like
okay, I'm going to explain that. I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit, just real quick. The Shield was one of my favorite shows of the 2000s. I revisited it last year. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, that show's politics are way more apparent to me at the age that I'm at now, than it was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, there was a lot of political and social commentary
in that show, and that show's political and social commentary is stuff that doesn't align with how Siege views the world in his late 30s.
And that's the thing. Sometimes nostalgia, you need to visit that nostalgia. That's the theme of this episode, right? Because you were like, ooh, geez. So no one
There,
else is watching The Shield, huh?
there is quite literally an episode of The Shield where a white pregnant woman is murdered, and her baby is cut out of her stomach by a young Latino woman or Latina because she had had so many abortions that she couldn't bear children herself anymore. So she went crazy and decided to murder this white woman and carve her baby out of her stomach to raise as her own.
Oh. Oh.
Unpack that for a second. And now me, like 20 years ago, I'm like, this is fucking riveting TV. And now I'm just like, this is like right-wing nonsense written by a white dude.
to prove some points.
Yeah. Oh, God. Anyway.
And, well, speaking of written by a white dude to, like, prove some points.
Okay, so...
they can't pay the chop shop. They can't pay to pimp their ride.
They can't pay to pimp their ride.
So he gets a sponsor.
Right.
He keeps going down this rabbit hole of owing people money and then gets a sponsor, and it's hemorrhoid cream.
It's hemorrhoid cream, yeah. And so how they pimp the ride is... Oh, by the way, the ship has an AI that appears to be sentient. Bob.
He's an idiot and he's a coward.
It gets upgraded.
He gets upgraded, and now he's a know-it-all and an asshole.
Yeah. And the crew takes notice of this like quite quickly, and they're like, "Wow, what's up this guy's ass?" And eventually, he like completely turns on them as they're in the race. He veers off course. He's like, "I'm gonna fly you into the sun."
The ship is an incel, a know-it-all incel, and tries to sexually harasses Sexbot.
Oh, right.
And she denies him, so takes them off course when they're winning the race to fly.
Was that his motivating factor for flying them into a star?
Or that was always his factor, because like awkward teen lizard boy like tries to do a system diagnostic and finds it's absolutely riddled with viruses. And for some reason.
There's some anal sex jokes about how
because
lizard boy and like
Bob wants to fly them into a brown dwarf.
A brown dwarf.
Which is,
and there's a line of like
cue all the ass sex jokes.
Right. There's a line from like Chode where he's like, take us deep into the brown dwarf and don't pull out. Or something along those lines.
That's like the 7th like butt sex joke in it. So at this point I'm just like, yes, I see. But yeah, what happens is the others try to distract Bob while Lizard Teen and Gay Robot go through the Jeffries tubes to physically stop him at the motherboard or some stupid shit. But the others on the deck, they realize that, oh, well, wait a second. Remember, he's just AI. He's just like programs. What is actually happening here? He's not hateful at us. It's that the viruses are corrupting his system, and he's doing the opposite of what we want.
Right.
And so we need to try to use that to our advantage.
That's how viruses work.
Yeah. Oh, man, I just wish these viruses would stay on my computer forever, and I hope they don't uninstall themselves.
Wink.
So Bob is like, oh, fuck you, buddy, and turns around, and then he's like, Chode's like, okay, listen here, Bob, you little piece of shit. Don't you dare win this race. And so Bob like goes
because I absolutely want to lose this race.
And I would hate nothing more than if I won this race.
And wouldn't you know it, Bob is like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna win this race. And then whatever, like,
Oh, lizard,
teen lizard boy and gay
teen
robot were
lizard, gay
doing to,
robot.
like,
They electrocute. They work together. No, the red wire. No, the blue wire. That's the
they're-
cutest part. Those two working together. Like in the
yeah, they do
Jeffries tubes.
they do some bullshit to try and fix Bob, and they fix Bob at just the perfect time to stop the ship right as it's about to
The
cross the
engines.
finish line.
And it kind of goes and like slows down and comes to a complete stop. Okay. All the others, I don't care about the physics. The physics of like whatever, it's space, fake grav drives or whatever. But it's not like on Earth where if you turn off a car's engine, what happens? Gravity and friction will slow it down if you're on a perfectly flat surface where you might come to a stop, right?
Right.
In space, if that is to be believed where they are, what happens to an object? Here's some Newtonian physics, like people. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. It's true that they wouldn't be able to maneuver, or I don't need to tell any of you this, you already fucking know, or you wouldn't be able to accelerate without thrusters, but what is the acting force of slowing him down? Nothing. It would not accelerate, it would maintain its velocity.
Indefinitely.
And unless acted upon by outside forces, space debris, radiation, gravity wells, jets going the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know why that bugs me, but it's like if you're going to do a sci-fi mocking thing, like you can't screw up like very like 10-year-olds. Like 10-year-old me like would have a problem with that.
Right.
Right? Like I was all into planets and space and everything, and it's just like okay, so it slows to a stop, and then Space Jeff Foxworthy's like, "Oh man, oh he came up so close, but didn't quite make it. Man, what a fucking huge piece of shit loser!" And then they like mock him, and they're briefly, but they get over it. They're briefly like, "Why did you guys stop Bob?" And they were like, "You guys sent us into the Jeffries tubes to stop him." Oh. And then I guess the resolution of the episode is, "Hey, Uncle, I entered your race footage or like whatever to like a TV show, and I want to see if you made the finals." And I guess he wins the Biggest Loser award.
Yeah.
As like Space Bob Saget, like is like, "Oh, the Biggest Loser award goes to like Chode for blah blah blah." And then he's like, "Oh, so I am the best at something." And then Fat Cow, haha, she's a literal fat cow monster. She's like, "Oh, even when you win, you manage to be a loser." And then everybody laughs, and the credits.
And mercifully, the episode ends.
It wasn't even an episode with his nemesis, Stupid Space Clown, evil Stupid Space Clown.
Who, if you're watching the video version, is pictured behind me, I suppose. I had no idea who that was.
He's got a super hot space clown daughter. See, I'm starting to think that like 15-year-old me kind of just like the moments where you see like some very minor nudity with like
Some
sex
CGI
robot changing
titties.
or some like physics like here or there. And because I lived in a small town, there was nothing on during this block.
Right.
It was like watching this and Aqua Teen Hunger Force. It was like there's nothing else on. Time to watch like Teletoon late night.
Or Metalocalypse.
Or Metalocalypse, yeah. Well, at least there's good in Metalocalypse.
Also hasn't aged well, but it's definitely aged better than this.
Yes, but it definitely has not aged well. But at least there's something to be like said, or you know, it's musical. The songs are in Metalocalypse. In this, it's oh boy, man. I was gonna say like if it was a musical, maybe it would have been slightly better, but
I would not want to hear songs written by the people behind this show.
Right? Anyways, they came out swinging. They wanted to be Trey Parker in terms of their writing. Oh man, there's a big difference in like why South Park is funny and why this is not, right?
Yeah.
And just because you grew up really liking South Park, I guess it doesn't mean you can write your own crude humor to match.
Well, and the thing with South Park too is like South Park,
It's actually very political, yeah.
like South Park always has a lot on its mind. I think my only issue with South Park has always been that like they just take jokes too far. Like a lot of the time, and I guess
lot of
that's
the time.
I guess that's part of the charm of it. But for me, I found it kind of off-putting. That's not to
I
say
find
that
certain episodes meh, and then other episodes like, oh, really good.
and that's not to say that I don't like South Park because in general, like I do. But they, like I said, they take jokes too far a lot of the time, and
Especially earlier seasons. I want to say it gets better as it as it aged.
Yeah, and that just kind of is a little bit of a deterrent for me.
It hits that extreme. It goes so far into it where it becomes absurd. But there's no absurdity in Tripping the Rift. There's
Well, there's absurdity to the point. Well, not even absurdity. Like the show's just stupid.
Man, did 15-year-old me like suck that much? Like or is it just that I was different time, different age, right? There wasn't anything crude like this.
I
Right?
have a feeling we're about to
charged.
lose a patron after this episode goes live.
You stay, or else, Samuel. But no, that's the thing. Like, maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know. But like, we're not going to like all of your patron suggestions. But
I wish we could.
But there's something to be said about like, hey, these guys like review like absolutely like random things. Oh man, I remember like really like liking this. And me too. I was stoked to go into this. There's some things like undergrads where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, it was of its time too. This was around the same time, right? And you're like, oh, okay, it's a little bit silly, and some episodes are good and some episodes are bad, but like, oh man, please tell me a good episode of Tripping the Rift. Because I want to see the best this has to offer, and that'll be the last time I ever. I'm kind of thinking that there's not a lot. There's not a lot to offer here.
So Samuel, after you finish listening to this, I urge you as a homework assignment.
No.
To go and rewatch this exact episode of Tripping the Rift, and I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Send us an email.
I thought you were gonna say like go back and watch all of it.
No, God, no.
And tell us when you give up.
No, just watch this episode after we have been talking about it for like nearly the past hour now. Go back and watch it, and then give us your thoughts. Leave a comment on the YouTube video, or send a email to Lazorcomb, LAZORCOMB, at outlook.com.
That's right. I guess it goes without saying, but we should do it anyways. Christopher Siege, you just caught a random episode of Tripping the Rift. Would you tune in next week?
Under no uncertain circumstances, no, I absolutely would not. I didn't even tune in next week when I like caught this show like in the 2000s.
Yeah, boy oh boy, I can't do it. I can't be paid to tune in next week. I have fond memories. I'm as devious as like any other teenager. I like me some Rule 34 as much as everyone else, but the characters are boring. There's better CG boobies out there. Man, you want to see a dedicated animated porn base. Man, some of that Overwatch porn. Just kiss. Just saying.
Who is the Okay, so there is some Rule 34 Overwatch that I've seen, but it's like it's this like chick with like short brown hair, and she wears like an Arctic suit.
Yes, May.
May.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course it's the thickest.
Yeah.
And she has glasses?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. May man. Yeah.
I'm just like, oh.
Hello.
Hot damn.
Yeah. And a lot of it's Widowmaker. A lot of it's like May. A lot of it is one of those characters that, but also with a penis, which I'm for. I want to see a gross dude with a wiener.
But a sexy chick.
Oh, wait, hang on.
Oh, now
Mercy.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. You show one dude's butt, and everybody loses their mind. But a chick with a dick, and that's all according to plan.
I mean,
Overwatch porn.
Yeah.
I would tune in next week.
But not for this.
But not for this. And you know what? Animators from Tripping the Rift, maybe some of them went on to do Overwatch animations.
Maybe they did, but I don't care enough to research that fact. No.
I wish them the best.
Godspeed.
Yeah.
And we wish them the best in their future endeavors.
And their present endeavors.
Anyway, that was episode 72 of the Lazorcomb podcast. Best way to support the show was to go to patreon.com/lazorcomb. LAZORCOMB. Where, at the $5 Gary tier, you get access to our bonus Patreon exclusive podcast, the Super Lazorcomb Patreon Super Show, on the latest episode of which we got real and we're talking about real world stuff.
Some real shit.
There's also archival audio. You get the occasional commentary track. We just did one for Dick Tracy not too long ago. And much like Samuel here, you get to pick a show for us to review a random episode of on this very podcast. And, well, perhaps have your childhood destroyed as we completely eviscerate the thing that you pitch us. So,
hey, we destroyed 321 Penguins, but Bemused Horseman is still hanging in there strong.
That is true.
And yeah, I challenged his math in the Discord, and he's still my friend. So,
So if you want to get in on all of that, go to patreon.com/lazorcomb. Follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter. I've started using it again. As there's
a throwback.
I am at Lazorcomb. You can follow me on Blue Sky Social also at Lazorcomb. And you can follow me on Instagram at Christopher Siege. You can follow me on Xbox Live at Lazorcomb.
That's right. You snagged Lazorcomb.
I did. And
I sent a message to NeoCal. Hasn't logged in 13 years. All that I know is he has nothing but like Japanese like softcore porn games.
Oh, well,
like because you could see people's achievements and stuff, and they're all like Dead or Alive,
right.
Extreme Beach Volleyball, and like those like puzzle games where like the girls like, lose their hasn't logged in 13 years. Should contact Microsoft and be like, hey, give me this guy's tag. He's gone. But I don't think they do that.
I remember reading a couple of years ago that they're going to start like purging like old accounts.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So I'm saying there's a chance. Go to facebook.com/lazorcomb to follow our Facebook page that I rarely ever update because I'm rarely ever on Facebook. And that's where you can find me. Cal, where can people find you?
NeoCal on probably like Facebook too, but TikTok, NeoCal on PlayStation, NeoCal on Blue Sky. I think I'm Calhalla on Threads. Oh, that's right. That's my Xbox handle, Calhalla, because NeoCal was taken.
Right.
Um, but honestly, it's like the Discord. Like, come
Yeah,
and
the
find us
Discord.
on the Discord because that's like the best way to like share memes, like actually like talk to us, pitch ideas, argue about like stupid Twitter math problems. uh, um, fucking like what else? Oh, throw news reports links on there for us to cover.
Yeah, sometimes we
Yeah.
talk about them.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
just say like hi.
Link in the description for the Discord, as with every episode.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know, man. Social media. You're more active on that social media stuff lately, though. Like you went back to the X go and give it to you, and
I post on the Discord quite often, and usually if someone says something to me, like or says something,
the Discord itself, though. Yeah, the
I'll
Discord
usually
I
respond.
actively engage in. Like that's like the only thing.
Mm.
Just funny because like 5 years ago, I was like, oh man, Discord. Why do I need to go on Discord?
I didn't even understand what it was when I first joined it. I'm like, what is this?
Is this like shitty Zoom?
Is this like an MSN chat room?
Yeah, is this like shitty AOL like chat rooms?
Yeah.
Is this like bad Skype?
The answer to all of that is yes.
Yeah. It's all of that and more.
But it works. Anyway, so that's where you can find us. Go check it out. We'd love to have you. We'd love to talk to you. We will be back next time with episode 73 of the Lasercomb podcast. I almost said too much energon. Where we're going to be doing another Patreon pick from our longtime patron and listener, Lewis. Now, one of the things that he had pitched us was a miniseries from 2003 called RoboCop Prime Directives. Now, it's a series of 4 TV movies, and because they're feature length, we decided to veto them. But, and I'm sorry, Lewis, for that, if you really want, I will binge RoboCop Prime Directives and, like, I don't know, record my thoughts and talk about it on the Patreon or something.
Or, yeah.
Release that as like a Patreon.
Because you said you liked that, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
But I haven't watched it in literally decades now at this point. But I'm a huge RoboCop fan, and I wanted to still do something RoboCop related. So instead of RoboCop Prime Directives, we're going to do 1994's RoboCop the series, which
1994.
I actually used to watch when I was a kid. So I'm going to hit screen share.
How many seasons of that?
Just one. How many? There were a lot of episodes. 23. 24, technically, because, like, the first 2 episodes were a 2-parter. So, alright. Go to the random number generator, and 1 episode between 1 and 23. And here we go! Yes! 2.
So is that technically episode 3? Because that would be
that is
awkward if it
part
was...
2 of the premieres, so I'm going to re-roll.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the
a
most awkward spot to come in.
23. Literally the final episode. Public Enemies. RoboCop must save the president and first gentleman from an assassination plot hatched by Dr. Millardo, Chip Chaikin, and Pudface Morgan. All right, well, we get to watch the final episode of RoboCop the series. And until then, I've been The Siege, one of your hosts.
And I'm NeoCal, your other host.
Thanks for listening. We will...
rift you later. We'll say things that were appropriate 20 years ago that we hated and get canceled for now. Jokes about gay robots and tunnels and tubes, butt sex.
Rift off, you fucking gay robot.
Rift off, you hose head.
Bye.